Hello, everyone. Today we're going to talk about proving it's a parallelogram. So this is what do we need to know that any quadrilateral is definitely a parallelogram. So the first thing would be that both pairs of opposite sides are parallel. The other way would know both pairs of opposite sides are congruent. If we know both pairs of opposite angles are congruent, the diagonals bisect each other, or if one pair of opposite sides are parallel and congruent. So we're going to look at these and we're going to decide if this is enough information to say that it is indeed a parallelogram. So it's helpful if we have a parallelogram, and we have several here. So it's SMTP. Notice they have to go in order. So this is saying that if we know SPX is congruent to TMX, so those two angles, and then we know that TPX is congruent to SMX. And that is enough because knowing that these opposite sides are parallel or opposite angles are congruent, these alternate interior angles are congruent, tells us that both sides are parallel. So number 2 is if we know SX is congruent to XT and SM is congruent to PT. That is not enough information because it tells me one diagonal is bisected, but not the other. So number 3 then says that PX is congruent to MX and SX is congruent to TX. That is yes, because that is the diagonals are bisecting each other. And then last but not least, number 4 says that SP is congruent to MT and SP is parallel to MT. So that is yes, because that's our last way, which is one pair of opposite sides parallel and congruent. Decide whether the quadrilateral is a parallelogram. So I want you to try these right now. So I want you to pause and try these and decide if there's enough information to say it's a parallelogram. So number 4 is yes, the diagonals bisect. Number 5 is no. Number 6 is no, because while it says these two are parallel, it says these two are congruent. Number 7 is yes, opposite sides congruent. Number 8 is yes, because that would lead me to opposite sides parallel. Number 9 is no, because while it says one pair of opposite angles are congruent, it says nothing about the other pair. 10 is yes, because I have one pair congruent and parallel sides. Number 11 is no. So now, how we're going to use this mostly in this class is we're going to use this information to find x. So find the values of x and y given that QRSP and FGHE are parallelograms. So if PQRS is a parallelogram, that means opposite sides are congruent. So that means that 2x plus 3 is equal to 3x minus 15. So we solve that for x. And we get x equals 18. For the second one, knowing that FGHE is a parallelogram, that tells me opposite angles are congruent. So that means that 6y plus 4 is equal to 3y plus 37. So we solve that. And we get y equals 11. So I want you to pause, and I want you to try number 2. So again, knowing number 2 is a parallelogram, we know that opposite sides are congruent. So since opposite sides are congruent, we know that 2y minus 9 is equal to y minus 2. So I solve that algebraically. Oops, that's y. And we get y equals 7. Again, we know opposite sides are congruent, so that means 3x plus 1 is equal to 5x minus 1. And again, I'm just solving that equation algebraically. X equals 1. So now for number 3 and 4, again, I want you to pause and I want you to try to do it. The first thing I would do on 3 and 4 is I would draw a parallelogram ABCD. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is what I told you to do, which is I'm going to draw ABCD. It doesn't matter what order where you start, as long as you go in order. So that says BC is 9x plus 10. AD is 6x plus 40. AB is half x plus 50. Find BC, AD, and AB. So find all the sides. So in a parallelogram, opposite sides are congruent. So that means BC is equal to AD. So that means 9x plus 10 is equal to 6x plus 40. So we solve that. We get x equals 10. Now that I know x equals 10, again, I know that AD is equal to BC. So I'm just going to pick one of these two. Doesn't matter which one. So I'm going to do the 6 times 10 plus 40. And I find out that those are 100. So then to find the other two sides, I know that AB is equal to DC because opposite sides are congruent. And they equal half of 10 plus 50. So those equal 55. Number 4, again, I start by drawing ABCD, my parallelogram. AD is 7 more than twice AB. So that means I'm going to say that AB is x and AD is 2x plus 7. The perimeter is 86. Well, the perimeter is all the way around the outside. So if AD is 2x plus 7, so is BC, because opposite sides are congruent. If AB is x, so is DC. So that means I have x plus 2x plus 7 plus x plus 2x plus 7 equals 86, because that's my perimeter. And I'm just going to solve that. So that's 6x plus 14 equals 86. Subtract 14. 6x equals 72. Divide by 6. And x equals 12. It didn't ask me to find x. It asked me to find the length of each side. So that means AB equals 12. DC equals 12. And then AD is 2 times 12 plus 7, which is 31, and BC also equals 31. That's the end of our video today. If you have any questions, please bring them to class tomorrow.